Protocol. Bodden's dealing with a knee. John Franklin Myers is dealing with a hip. They won't practice. Everybody else is limited.
Zach probably not looking great.
We'll see. His everything's improved, so I'm not closing the door on that yet.
Is he able to do the workout based the protocol yet? Treadmill and stuff?
That's a good question. I couldn't tell you. They tell me when he's ready for practice, and that's about my interest level.
Now that Aaron said that he's going to turn his focus to rehabbing, like, will you guys activate him today, or what's the plan with that?
Yeah, so he'll be. We're still going to keep him on the active. We've got the roster flexibility with all the different things that have happened over the course of the last couple of weeks, and like I said, it's all part of his rehab, and just having him out on the football field is a plus for everybody. It's a plus for him. It's a plus for his teammates, and so we're going to keep him on the 53.
Is this more for practice for him to continue to do that?
Yeah, the continuous it's all part of the rehab. So there would be days when he's out there. There's days when he's not. And like I said, we just have the roster flexibility. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't be able to afford to do this.
You would never activate him, though, like,
No. He's not playing.
Now that we know he's not playing this year, could you just talk about the comeback attempt, how likely it, how close he could have come, and just your thoughts on
I know he went hard. It's probably a question more for him. The optimist in me says that I'm, just observing him. He tried everything he could to get back, and who knows if the circumstances were different and get a couple of these wins. Maybe we're having a different conversation, but I know he gave everything he could.
So yesterday, when you had those conversations with doctors, was he not cleared yesterday? Was that the finding? The doctor said he's not cleared.
Yeah, that'd be more for him and the doctors. I can get more of that information. I'm just not going to talk about that here.
Is this decision, though, Robert, and not the very most here, is it more based on where you guys are as a team?
Again, that'd be more for him, but my instinct says if he was 100%, he'd probably be banging the door a little bit more. But like he said, he's a couple weeks away, and so there's always just weighing those the risks and the rewards for it.
Robert, Rodgers endorsed you and talked about how good of a coach you are. I just wanted to know what that means to you.
I appreciate it. He's they're the one. He's here every day, and but it's appreciated.
We talked to some of the players after the game on Sunday, and they said they might have trouble being motivated for these last 3 games. What can you do as a coach to help them get for these last 5 games?
After the game, everyone's running high in emotion or low, in our case. But I think after a couple of days of reflection, and they always show up on Wednesday, even coaches. I mean, Monday and Tuesday are not fun after losses, whether you're in it or not. But by Wednesday, when we hit the grass and we're together and we're communicating, it always goes away, and it always provides a good reset. But at the end of the day, everyone gets it, from coaches to players. As coaches, you're putting your best game plan together, and everyone's watching. And as players, 32 teams or 31 teams, other teams are getting that tape. So it's always your resume, and it's not necessarily a threat, but it's understood that you are what your tape says you are. And I know that at the end of the day, if your brother's going out there to sacrifice and play his tail off, then the expectation is you do it for him and you do it for one another. But that's the cool thing about this group is I do think they'll continue to go out there and fight like they have all year.
From that standpoint, CJ talked about that on, I think it was Monday, that he it's not in his DNA to give up or anything like that. How much do you appreciate having a guy like that leading your defense?
Very much, and but I feel like that's the entire locker room. It's I know there's a lot of frustrations from fans, coaches, players, everybody, with regards to how the season has panned out. But at the same time, when those young men put those helmets on and you put your hand in the dirt, and the man next to you has got his hand in the dirt, you're doing everything you can to make sure that he can do his job to the best of his ability. I do my job, so you can do your job, and that's really the cool thing about football, where everybody matters, and so I think in this sport, and I'll speak for all 32 teams, that every locker room feels the same way. I've never prescribed to the idea that players quit. I haven't. And because when you quit on your teammate, and that's probably one of the greatest sins to me. But when you look at our locker room and you look down our roster, I feel like we've got tremendous character, and those guys love one another and they'll play for one another.
Why did you change the schedule this week?
We kind of got beat up in the Miami game. A lot of guys, not from a year-ending injury standpoint, but it was a rough one, and I just wanted to make sure that we focused a lot on regen and getting our bodies back, and just trying to change the schedule to tighten it up and give them more regen opportunities.
One of the things Aaron said yesterday was that he hopes to be like an active, to help recruiting in the offseason, free agency and so forth. How much of a resource is it to have a guy like that doing that? And by the same token, maybe considering the way it worked out this year, do you have to be a little more judicious as an organization on just bringing in guys that he's close to?
Yeah, no, for sure. And, it's to get his opinion and all that stuff, obviously, is always going to be warranted. We're always going to include him. And, but whether even last year, there's still you still have to be judicious and make sure you're crossing T's, dotting I's. And it's not uncommon throughout the league to call a player who has been with other players to ask, hey, how was this dude as a teammate? How was he as how was he on the field? How was he around the building to gather information? So that's not uncommon, and we'll continue to use that resource not only with him but everybody on the roster.
Robert, what's your message to the fan base about what next year could look like for this team with the healthy Rodgers?
Well, healthy Rodgers, healthy O-line, get that thing fixed too, and the excitement in August of 2023 was real. The excitement of everyone coming out of the tunnel on September 11th was real, and it's unfortunate the way the season panned out, but with that excitement, we'll have that excitement again, and the expectation for me, and I'll speak for everybody around here, is that we win, and I do believe we will.
Do you plan, Robert, on being? I mean, Aaron said he wants to give you guys 2 years, so next year and the year after that. Knowing you have that window now, that true win-now window, do you plan on being, you and Joe, very aggressive this offseason to make sure that in that window you do as much as you can to go super?
Yeah, we're always going to be as aggressive as can be, and thankfully we do have a tremendous owner who has been willing to push the envelope as far as we can, and we've got to be smart and got to make sure we're doing the right things, but we want to win a championship. We believe we can win a championship, and I know he said 2 years, but in a perfect situation, we win a championship next year, and he walks off in the sunlight, but that's a whole nother discussion for the offseason. So. No, but you get the point. I think he's going to play until his wheels fall off. I don't think it's 1, 2. I think he'll go 3, 4, 5 if he can. That's just my opinion. So.
Sorry.
You're all good.
Getting back to Zach and his concussion, he came out on Monday night about he had blurred vision and that he was playing through the game with some symptoms and didn't come out until they took him out. Is it concerning at all that a situation like that could, he's playing with blurred vision and depth perception issues?
Yeah,
People.
I want to make sure I say this the right way. Sometimes we don't always catch it, right? And that's why we have the NFL spotters to spot things up top and all that stuff. But players do not want to come off the field too, and you always encourage them to communicate. And I think we ended up having 5 guys get spotted during the game, but when they cleared, all of them cleared with the exception of Zach. But it's always encourage those guys to take care of above the neck, and credit to Zach, he will fight. That's one thing I'll say about that young man, is he's always gotten up there no matter how many hits he's taken, how many times he's running for his life. He's always come back to the huddle, and he's come back and he's fought, and so I have a great appreciation for him. But at the same time, thank goodness that it was spotted up top, and we were able to get him the care that he needs.
Robert, with everything that's happened on the offensive line during the last 2 years, do you guys, after this season, do you have to sit down and really analyze it and see, is there anything that you can change to improve that? I know it's happening in other organizations as well.
No, it is. It's there's organizations that have played with the same five all year. I think Denver is one of them, and there's a bunch of them who have had the same five, and so there's definitely something we've been studying over the last couple of weeks to try to get a beat on it and to try to get a head start. Because knock on wood, for the most part, the roster's been healthy. It's that group for the last 2 years that has taken the beating, and so there's definitely information out there that we hope that we can merge to keep the roster healthy, but at the same time, there's something with the O-line group that I think is different.
Do
So.
you think there's anything with the way the offseason has changed in recent years where maybe that group isn't as calloused?
I do. I think there's a detraining that happens. I mean, there's a lot of thoughts. We can sit down for a couple hours if you want, but but there's definitely, but there's a balance. With our D-line, I'll give you an example. When I was in San Francisco, the style of play, even our first year, the style of play with the D-line is one that is very, very, very aggressive. And so we had this rotation to kind of preserve them and all that stuff. But even with it, it's so violent in the way we teach it that those guys, they get beat up. But over the last 2 years, we've really revamped the way we operate with those guys on a day in and day out basis. And knock on wood, it's been pretty good. And so there's definitely something with the offensive line that we've already started a deep dive on to get rectified over the offseason.
All good. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you, guys.